Hello everyone, my name is Ozzymitsu and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very special installment of my Evolution Solution series where I wanted to tackle the Tapus. I've recently been expanding my series for more interesting comparisons. To familiarise yourself with the series as a whole, click on the iCard on the top right hand corner of the screen. If for whatever reason you have them disabled, I've placed a link in the description below. This is going to be one hell of a long video, so I don't want to waste any more time. Let's just get this analysis underway. Let's begin with the guardian deity of Melemele Island, Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko is not known to evolve or have any pre-evolutions. It has a very nice typing of electric and fairy, which means it is only weak to poison and ground. It has a dragon immunity whilst resisting fighting, flying, bug, electric and of course dark. Its primary ability is electric surge, which summons electric terrain upon switching in, which has some really nice properties which include, but are not limited to, boosting the power of electric type moves, as well as nature power becoming thunderbolt. Its hidden ability, which to my knowledge is impossible to obtain legally as of the day of this video going live, which is telepathy. This enables a Pokemon with this ability to avoid all moves used by an ally. For example, if your ally uses Earthquake or Surf, the said Pokemon with telepathy avoids this attack. Moving on to its stats, I must say they're pretty impressive, with a whopping 130 in its speed, base 115 in physical attack, but also has a decent 95 base special attack stat in case you wanted to run a mixed set. In terms of a moveset, I'd run Wild Charge as its main electric stab move, Brave Bird as another high damaging physical move, U-turn and Protect to play the role as a scout. In terms of the EV spread, I'd go max attack and speed as its bare bones. I would give Koko a life orb, and even though its speed is fantastic, I'd still go for the jolly nature for that extra bit of speed and ensure you can U-turn out of there in case you face any threats. The only thing I dislike about this is that Tapu Koko doesn't get access to play rough, but it doesn't even get access to Moonblast either, unless you're in doubles and have an ally to set up misty terrain and give Tapu Koko nature power, or team it up with Tapu Fini. But that just seems too counterproductive, as Dazzling Gleam is also an option. Through level up and TMs, Tapu Koko does learn a lot of useful moves. I just find it not getting access to play rough as a drawback as a stab physical fairy move, which would have been perfect, coupled with Tapu Koko's amazing speed and physical attack. Let's move on to Tapu Lele, the guardian deity of Akala Island. It has a dual typing that I really like of Psychic and Fairy. This means it is weak to Poison, Ghost and Steel, immune to Dragon, resists Psychic, but also has a quarter resistance to fighting. So overall makes a good mix of an offensive and defensive Pokemon. Looking at Lele's abilities, its hidden ability is the same as Tapu Koko's, which is Telepathy, which we've spoken about already. Its primary ability is the Psychic type counterpart of Electric Surge, as its name suggests, Psychic Surge. It is definitely one of my favourite abilities because it has so many useful properties which include, but are not limited to, boosting the power of Psychic type moves, as well as negating priority moves. This is fantastic because for a fairy type like Tapu Lele, it doesn't want to be eating any bullet punches. Looking at its stats, they're kind of what you'd call typical for a fairy type. It has a respectable 130 base special attack stat, alongside 115 base special defense stat. It also has a decent base 95 speed stat, although it is slightly disappointing as it'll lose in terms of speed against the likes of Pokemon dominant in the metagame like the previously mentioned Tapu Koko. However, the edge that Lele has over Koko is that it can make use of its stats much better. It being a special attacker and getting access to great moves like Moonblast makes it a force to be reckoned with. In terms of a moveset, I run the following Lele set on my team, which works particularly well, but isn't anything groundbreaking or original. Psychic and Moonblast as its main stab moves, as well as Shadow Ball to cover its ghost weakness. For its final move, I like to run T-Bolt, just for reliable damage, but I know a lot of people like to run Focus Blast, but I'm not a fan of this move due to its poor accuracy. In terms of the EV spread, I'd go max special attack, max speed, and the rest anywhere you prefer. I personally like giving Lele the Choice Scarf for that extra bit of speed, but I know some people like to give Lele Choice Specs. Seriously, a Specs Lele will just look at you and you'll die. In terms of its nature, modest or timid are your best options. Whew, we're halfway done. Let's move on to Tapu Bulu, shall we? Tapu Bulu is the guardian deity of Ula Ula Island. It is a grass fairy type, which means it is weak to flying, steel, fire, ice, and has a 4 times weakness to poison. It is of course immune to dragon, whilst resisting fighting, ground, water, grass, electric, and of course dark. Just like Koko and Lele, its hidden ability is telepathy, but its primary ability is a grass type counterpart to the other primary abilities mentioned, called Grassy Surge. Grassy Surge summons grassy terrain upon switching in. Its properties include, but are not limited to, restoring a 16th HP at the end of each turn to any affected Pokemon, as well as boosting the power of grass type moves. Moving on to Bulu's stats, it appears to be be the physical counterpart to Lele in that its two highest stats are its physical attack and defense, only it's a bit slower than Lele. Through level up it does learn a lot of useful physical moves like Wood Hammer, Superpower and Mega Horn, but it also learns moves like Stone Edge and Rock Slide via TM, which is pretty useful. In terms of a moveset, I'd run the following set: Wood Hammer, Superpower, Zen Headbutt and Mega Horn with a choice band, going jolly with max attack and speed. Alternatively, I have seen a lot of people use an Assault Vest set with the same moveset going down really well for Bulu, because it's able to hit hard whilst being able to tank a hit both physically and specially, as long as it's not super effective. But you can tweak the EVs according to what kind of role you want Bulu to play on your team. The only thing letting Bulu down is that it shares the same fate as Koko. It does not get access to a physical fairy move, and honestly it really is very disappointing. Let's move on to the last Tapu, Tapu Fini, the guardian deity of Pony Island. Tapu Fini is a water fairy type, which means it is weak to grass, electric and poison, having a dragon immunity, whilst resisting fighting, bug, fire, water, ice and dark. Like the other Tapus, its hidden ability is telepathy, which we've touched upon already. However, its primary ability is Misty Surge, which summons misty terrain on switching. The properties of this terrain include but are not limited to being immune to non-volatile status conditions like burn or poison whilst the terrain is active. It also halves the damage of dragon type attacks. Moving on to Fini's stats. Its best stats are both its defenses, but it also has a respectable base 95 special attack stat. In terms of moveset, it could work really well in doubles with Tapu Koko. Because it's slower, its ability will override Electric Surge, and Koko could run Nature Power to get access to Moonblast. Other than that though, Fini can work well as a perfect support Pokemon. What else would you do? Run it as a dual screener, along with Haze to eliminate any stat changes in case a Pokemon thinks it can set up in your face due to your lack of offensive sustain. I'd go for 126 in HP EVs, split the rest of the defenses, and you're set. You can run Leftovers for more recovery sustain, or Misty Seed so you can boost your special defense by one stage whilst the terrain is active. Any nature like Calm could work perfectly well. However, you can run Fini in many different ways. You can even consider running some offensive moves like Hydro Pump and Moonblast, or even Nature's Madness to halve your foe's HP for a bit of momentum. Reviewing the four from an analytics standpoint, they all have great stats and benefit one another depending on the role they wish to play in competitive play. Tapu Lele being either a special wall or a special sweeper, whilst Koko being a speedy mixed attacker, Bulu being a powerhouse, and Fini being a great support Pokemon. So I wouldn't say any of them have the edge over the other, but with a bit of bias, I do prefer Tapu Lele's stats the most, as it's so specially defensive whilst having a monstrous special attack stat. In terms of their typing, I feel like Tapu Lele and Fini win here, as they both get access to moves of their dual typings for stab, and also their typing complements their potential defensive capabilities. Of course, Fini has the edge due to one of its weaknesses being grass, which isn't very common, and that complements its support role it will play. It's less likely to be hit super effectively and can do a lot of shenanigans. But it's not to say Koko or Bulu have bad typings as such. I just feel like Lele and Fini's typings help them out with their respective roles they'll play in competitive play. In terms of their abilities, again they're all great, but I'd say Tapu Lele has the best primary ability due to it boosting one of its stab moves whilst negating all priority moves that would usually foil your momentum, like Fake Out, Prankster users, and the almighty Bullet Punch that would be the bane of all fairy types' lives. Though you can't sniff at the other abilities as they work well for their respective Tapus, with Koko getting a boost in its electric stab whilst being unable to be put to sleep, Bulu getting some free sustain with some HP recovery, and Fini being so defensive, being immune to status conditions whilst the terrain is active, is fantastic. In terms of their move pool, I feel like Tapu Fini wins here, although Lele is a close second, not because it has the most diverse move pool as such, but because its lens set suits Fini as it would adopt the role of a support Pokemon. The reason I say Lele is a close second is due to it getting access to a wide range of offensive moves, whilst Koko and Bulu being mainly physical attackers, being unable to learn Play Rough, a physical fairy move, which again is pretty disappointing. Honestly though, their roles in competitive play change drastically depending on if you're running them in singles or doubles, but if it were up to me, I'd choose Tapu Lele, mainly because it's the one I use the most and have had the most fun using in competitive battling. But I also find its design pretty appealing, it being thought to look like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. It just works really well, and I've said it in a couple of previous videos, I find the idea of metamorphosis so fascinating. What about you guys? Which of the four do you prefer? Be sure to let me know by leaving a comment down below. But on that note, if you enjoyed today's video, please leave it a big thumbs up as that really helps me out, and why not subscribe to become an Ozzywatt today. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Twitch, as I've recently started streaming regularly and I update on Twitter when I will be streaming. The links to these respective platforms will be in the description below, and with all of that being said, I'll see you guys very soon.